How I got lean. You probably think this is another video with someone trying to sell you a diet and exercise program that promises magic results in an unrealistic period of time. Well, don't worry, that's not the case because everything you need to get started is completely free, and I assure you there's no magic involved. Now, you're probably watching this because you've tried to either lose weight, get leaner, or see your abs in the past, and you didn't get the results that you wanted, or maybe you didn't even know where to start. Stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to give you all the knowledge and tools you need to also get lean. This is something I've had success with myself, and now I'm going to share that information with you guys. To keep it simple for this video, I broke it down into 3 parts. The first will be organization and measurements. That's where we're going to go over how we're going to keep track of everything, exactly what we're going to measure to get leaner, and how we're going to measure those things. The second will be exercise, where we're going to do a brief overview of the actual plan. And then the third will be dieting, where I'm going to show you guys how we're going to create a caloric deficit. Now, after we do this, I'm going to give you guys some action steps you can follow along with, as well as some key takeaways. And I just wanted to give a disclaimer that I do not own, nor did I create, any of the apps or websites used in this video. Now, let's get started. Part 1, organization and tracking. Alright, to get leaner, we need to create a plan that will help us both lose weight and build muscle. This plan, however, should be centered around weight loss that will occur during a 10 to 18-week timeline. During this, we need to stay organized, tracking our exercise, eating, and progress throughout this journey. So, we will need to know how and where to track all of these things. The 2 metrics we will use to determine how much progress we are making in losing weight to get leaner will, of course, be our body weight along with our waist circumference. To measure these 2, we will need a scale and a waist measurement tape.
You guys can see here we can get both items we need for less than $20 here on Amazon, and they can be here in the same day. It's more important that we use the same scale consistently rather than get a super expensive one. So if you're balling on a budget, the $12 scale will do. And for the waist measurement tape, I like to get one with an insert because it's much more reliable for self-measurement.
Now that we know our body weight and our waist circumference, we have our starting point. Not only that, but we need to know our body weight in order to figure out how many calories we can eat each day while staying in a calorie deficit. I'm going to expand much more on this in the diet section of this video, but just to show you guys, this is where I get my numbers.
All right, so here is calculator.net. This is the free website that I use to get my total daily calorie intake number from using their calorie calculator. But I'm going to explain how we use this later on in the diet section of the video. Moving over to where we will track our day-to-day eating. This is MyFitnessPal. It's a free app and website you can use to track your macros. You would click the food button here. You can see it's going to give you the date, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I did not eat all of this for breakfast. I just like to log everything in the same place to keep it simpler for tracking purposes. Now, once you log a food, it'll give you the total calories and then the corresponding macros for that food. To add, you would click this button here. Either search the database, or it actually remembers all of the foods you've recently eaten, so you can just select, change the quantity and serving size as needed, and hit add checked. And to make things even more convenient, you can hit quick tools. This will let you add yesterday's entire meals and food, or you can copy and paste meals as you go. Next, to where we're going to track our progress, macros, and exercise on a larger time frame. So this is a Google Drive Excel spreadsheet. If you don't already have a Gmail, you can create one now. They're free and easy to use. This is where we're going to track our progress. So we're going to create 3 different sheets at the bottom here. The first will be for our body weight and waist measurements. Here is going to be the diet section where we're going to track our macros additionally. This is great because if you're not able to eat the same things at the same times every day, or your calories change from day to day, you can select all the cells there and average them out using the function button there. Super helpful. Lastly, where we're going to create our training program. So here you can see I've got days 1 through 5 there, and the exercises on the bottom, and then we're going to put the sets and reps for those exercises. This is also very helpful because you can track all the calories you burned through doing cardio at the bottom. And just like the calories, Instead of averaging it, we're just going to hit some, and it'll give you how many calories you burn doing cardio that week as well. So now, how do you design a training program for a weight loss journey?
When it comes to resistance training and exercising to get leaner, how many days a week you plan on training should depend on your current level of fitness. Anyone who's a beginner to intermediate should be planning on training 3 to 5 days a week, whereas anyone who's intermediate to more advanced should be planning on training 4 to 6 times a week. However, ultimately, this should be a number that you're going to be able to consistently commit to, because when we do our calorie calculator, in a little bit, you'll see that our activity level actually affects how many calories we can eat each day and remain in a deficit. So if we plan on training 4 to 5 days a week, and that's what we build our calories out to, and we actually only train 1 or 3 days a week, something's going to be off and we're not going to make the progress that we want to. So there is no one size fits all program when it comes to resistance training. However, there are some rules that we can stick to in order to create an effective program. All right, rule number 1, don't do too much too soon. You can always add days a week in the gym and reps and sets done in each workout as time goes on. In fact, programs should work this way. Rule number 2, quality over quantity with resistance training. Make sure each exercise, each rep, each set is done with a full range of motion and a controlled eccentric movement. This will not only yield the best results in your training, but limit your risk to injury as much as possible. Rule number 3, rely on intensity and effort over sheer volume when you're planning your workouts. Hopefully, the less sets you plan on doing in the gym will by default improve the quality of all of them. Rule number 4, start with compound movements and then move to accessory and ancillary movements later in your workout. A compound movement is any exercise that requires 2 or more muscles to complete it, and an accessory or ancillary movement is any exercise that only requires 1 exercise to complete it. Some examples of compounds are squats, benches, deadlifts, and overhead presses, and even pull-ups. And some accessory movements are bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, and shoulder lateral raises. Rule number 5, make sure your program is progressive in nature. This kind of goes back to rule number 1, but make sure you're getting better somehow week over week, whether you're doing more reps and sets, hitting a PR. Although this may be difficult on your diet and your weight loss journey, this still should be your goal, if not to maintain where you're already at. Now, moving on to cardio. There are 2 things I like a lot about cardio. Number 1, it can improve your heart health, possibly extending your life. Number 2, it can be used as a tool to create a larger calorie deficit while we're dieting. Although your main deficit should come from your diet itself, you can always utilize cardio to create a larger one. Definitely prioritize resistance training over cardio, but if you are going to do it, make sure the amount you start with is both reasonable, sustainable, and only make gradual increases week over week. Now, let's go and figure out our diet.
Now that you have an idea of how many days a week you're going to be exercising and you already should know how active your lifestyle is, you can head back over to calculator.net. You can pull up their calorie calculator and it's going to have you enter in 5 different metrics here: age, gender, height, weight, and your activity level. Your activity level is how active your lifestyle is, combined with how many days a week you will be exercising and doing cardio. This is where a lot of people typically mess up. You should be really considerate as to how active your lifestyle actually is, plus how much cardio and exercise you really do plan on doing. I suggest not changing this until at least the 3rd or 4th week of your diet if you don't notice any significant progress. But these are just the metrics that I have for myself. I'm going to go ahead and hit calculate. Based on the metrics that we put in, it's going to give you a few different options. The calories to maintain your weight, mild weight loss, and extreme weight loss. To set yourself up for long-term success, I suggest either starting at mild or weight loss. These are fairly modest deficits that will be sustainable for long periods of time. Definitely avoid the extreme setting and the heavy calorie restriction at the start. This will be very unsustainable and ultimately lead to failure within your diet. Often, this is what I kind of see people that yo-yo diet do. They'll put themselves in a crazy calorie restriction at the beginning of their diet, be good for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, then fall off the wagon, start a diet again, rinse and repeat, and then never really make any progress. So, starting in the mild or the weight loss with a more modest deficit will definitely help you stay committed for a longer period of time.
So now that you know how many calories you can eat each day with either the mild weight loss or the weight loss setting, I'm going to give you some helpful tips to get your diet started. Tip number 1, choose whole foods over processed ones. These will be much more nutrient dense and contain the vitamins and minerals you need to feel good during your diet. Also, they're typically a much higher volume food. Tip number 2, start by building your daily calories around getting in 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Protein is a very satiating macro. This will help keep you full throughout the day. Tip number 3, aim to get at least 2 to 4 servings of both fruits and vegetables each day. Fruits and vegetables are high in fiber, and this is going to also help keep you full throughout the day. Tip number 4, pick foods that you will actually be able to eat each day. Maybe pick between 7 to 10 foods that you can consider your daily staples that will help you hit your goals and you'll also be able to be compliant with. Tip number 5, and this should go without saying, but always prepare and prep ahead. Get all of your food shopping and cooking done before the week begins. This will give you much less to think about and help you stay more compliant. So that's the exact process I use to get leaner, and it's one you guys can use too. I hope you found this video to be helpful, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, because next time I'm going to be doing a video that dives deeper just into the dieting side of getting leaner. If you have any questions about the process itself, you can leave them in the comments below. I'd love to help you guys out in any way that I can. You can also find me on Instagram at LiftedVitality1. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.